Looks like it's going to be a long year again in the Bay Area, and that new stadium suddenly not as shiny at Levi Stadium out in Santa Clara. Tim Kawakami, who was all over the pulse of the Bay Area sports scene, very opinionated columnist, very good at his job. I've been reading him for a while, and Tim is with the San Jose Mercury News, and Tim is with us here on Tiki and Tierney. Tim, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing just fine, Brandon. How you doing?
Awesome, man. It's been a while. Nice to have you back on the show.
Yeah, Tim, I know you were out there in the media scrum talking to Colin Kaepernick yesterday, but we had an extensive conversation at the top of our show. But I'm more curious, what are the other players in San Francisco thinking about this? Because clearly it's a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah, it was kind of remarkable yesterday. The whole thing was remarkable yesterday. We didn't know that Kaepernick was going to talk. I was talking to a bunch of players. The players, you know how it goes. Sometimes the players are around, sometimes they're not. This time, all the major players, Bowman to start, and then there was Daniel Kilgore, this very, respected center. The guys were all around. Antoine Bethea, Eric Reed, Torrey Smith. This team's main guys were all available, all, answered questions very rationally, very logically, talked about the team meeting they had earlier in the day, where Kaepernick addressed this for the first time to the team, where, he answered questions from them and told them that he would, be glad to talk about it individually with them into the future. So I think this locker room, and there's never, I never ever go unanimous on any locker room, any group of large people like that. But I think, there's players who are upset about it, maybe players who support it, maybe. But I think generally the players felt good that Kaepernick addressed them, and good that he thought through it. That this wasn't just a knee-jerk thing. He just came off the cuff. That this was something that he really did believe in. He didn't do it in their minds. Again, it's not unanimous, but I could just tell by talking to, Bruce Miller, all these guys, that he explained to them that what was behind it, and they supported him, at least thinking through it. Now, whether the act itself and the attention it's bringing, that's a whole separate thing, and what it represents in the larger world, that might be something they all have to discuss and think about. But that he felt it, that it was principled, that it wasn't just something, that he wanted the cameras on, and that he really, really believed this. I think a large part of them felt that after discussing it with him and wanted to say so. That was what really struck me yesterday. It's like, you usually have a period like this where media comes in the locker room and the main players aren't available.
Yeah.
You know that.
Of course.
They're not there.
Yeah.
But yesterday, they were all there, and they wanted to talk. Now, they didn't necessarily want to talk about every detail of this, but they wanted to say different versions of what I just said.
Yeah,
he addressed it. I'm glad he took the questions. He's clearly thought this through. This doesn't mean I agree with everything that Kaepernick is saying or doing, but I believe he's committed to this, and he has that right in America. And I think the locker room really felt that, and that was pretty strongly communicated yesterday.
Tim, notwithstanding this issue specifically, but in general, how are the players and this organization, how are they looking at Colin Kaepernick? Because it feels like from the outside looking in, and we're completely across the country, that he's like persona non grata. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's different. With the management, yes. That's been going on for a while. I think management kind of turned on him last season and blamed a lot of the failures last year on him. He did not perform well, but I think, there was many, many factors that went into last season. Not, I wouldn't even say mainly his fault, but he did not play well. And he's associated with Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh is gone and hated by management, as you probably know. In the locker room, I think it's more like a distant thing. He never was a rah-rah leader, even when he was really good as a quarterback. He got the job under weird circumstances when Alex Smith got hurt and won the job even when Alex Smith came back, led him to a Super Bowl. Even then, it wasn't like he was this circle, the huddle, and everyone believes in Cap, and he's a Brett Favre type. He never was that. It was kind of go his own way, but players respected him. He played well. He put in the work. They always say that. He puts in the work. They always say he's a leader, and I don't think he, whatever tangible way you can say that, he's not that guy. But there's respect for him just as a player, as someone who works hard, as someone who wants to win. As things broke down last year, again, he lost kind of his mentor with Harbaugh. He wasn't coached very well. He wasn't playing very well. The quote this is from a management source, I believe, to Jay Glazer was he was on an island, and that really stung him, and that really him begin to distrust management, and I think it's accurate that they were trying to undermine him. And as this is all playing out, the team's playing terribly. So it's kind of, what are players supposed to do? That there's 53 guys making their own decision about what this means. Do they blame him? And I'm sure some players did. Do they support him? I'm sure many players did. Do they not know what to think and kind of go with the flow? Yeah, I think that's most of them, and I think that's continued into this season. The play was going to determine kind of his role. And then he got hurt again in training camp, and he missed 2 weeks. And then he comes back on Friday. His first game doesn't play very well. Now, Blaine Gabbert didn't play very well either, but Gabbert's been in there every day. He was in there all off season, and Kaepernick wasn't because he was hurt. Kaepernick wanted to be traded. All these things kind of disassociate him with maybe the heart of the locker room. But if you're in there and you're playing well, it doesn't matter. It hasn't happened that way. So I don't think he's really connected to a lot of the players in the locker room, but I don't think that was true even when he was playing really well and they're going to the Super Bowl. He's not that personality. If anything, this is the ironic part of this, I think this meeting, this incident, these conversations have brought him closer to the main people in the locker room, because he hasn't had these kind of conversations. They haven't known him. Now they know what he's passionate about. Now they know that he can answer these questions. Now that they know that he's not just a willy-nilly guy posing for magazine spreads and lifting weights. He's something broader. Now, doesn't mean that he's more popular, but it means that they know him more.
Yeah.
And also doesn't mean he's going to be on the team much longer.
Yeah.
But I think this is the interesting part of this. Is this might be the one thing that the rest of the players in the locker room can identify with him now, and some of the other things that have happened through the years they haven't really identified with him.
Tim Kawakami with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. And you mentioned Blaine Gabbert. Listen, a very interesting comparison to the way he started his career versus Colin's start. Obviously, Gabbert was a first-round pick, and he failed, and he fizzled, and he was a bust, and now he's trying to revive his career, and on some level has, on some basic level. And then the complete antithesis is Kaepernick, who was a second-round guy, kind of lying in the weeds. As you said, the concussion to Alex Smith. He goes to the bench. Kaepernick lights the world on fire. He runs for $181 against the Packers in the postseason. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's got a pretty good touch as well, and he seemingly forgot how to play football. So right now, who's the best quarterback on the team?
Well, I mean, for week one, it's Blaine Gabbert, and I've said that from the beginning because, remember, Kaepernick did not throw a pass all offseason, was not part of the whole thing they're doing, the new Chip Kelly system, even though you could imagine fitting in very well with the Chip Kelly system if you go back to Oregon for sure. I'm not so sure in the pro style if that's exactly how the fit's going to be, but you could see him if he could, throw accurate short passes and run that zone read. He could be a dangerous weapon. I think Chip Kelly thinks that. But without the work that he's, with losing all the weight that he's lost, without having played live NFL games since November, with Gabbert being there and possibly being more accurate, and certainly, you would think can run this Chip Kelly offense, and he's more athletic than you think. Gabbert's really can run the ball. It's Gabbert for week one. Now, my point from the beginning was that doesn't mean Kaepernick's out. It just means, the Chip Kelly offense, you need more than one quarterback. Sometimes you need more than two. If you go down the list, is Jeff Driscoll going to be the number two quarterback? I wouldn't think Chip Kelly would feel real comfortable about that. So It would be Blaine Gabbert to start the year without an overcommitment to them, without saying that's it, that's our season. I don't think Chip Kelly's ready to do that. I don't think anybody's ready. Maybe management's ready to do that. Chip Kelly's probably not ready to do that. This with Kaepernick getting hurt and then Kaepernick going through this and Kaepernick not looking real great, I would say if he doesn't look good in practice this week, and if they're not having very many, they play Thursday in San Diego, and then if he does not look good on Thursday, I would guess Gabbert might barely play or not at all in the next game, but Kaepernick will play, and if he doesn't look good, I think there's a chance he gets cut. Again, I don't think Chip Kelly would be signing off on that unless he's got another veteran ready to go. Maybe Mark Sanchez gets cut by Denver. Obviously has familiarity with Chip Kelly. We're talking about a lot of different scenarios, but I think he's in jeopardy of getting cut under a different, if a lot of different things happen. If he can't play in a manner that makes Chip Kelly believe that he should be the number two quarterback and can contribute this season, I still lean to the side that I think Kelly is going to pick him as one of his best two quarterbacks. If he's convinced otherwise, we're going to
got you.
Story.
I got you. Tim, keep up the good work, man. Been reading you, even since I left the Bay Area. Didn't get to know you well, but always appreciate the the insight, not afraid to let it rip. Mercury, San Jose Mercury News. Timmy, one of the really good writers, I think, in the country. So we'll talk soon during the season, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Got to appreciate it, Brandon.
There you go, man. Tim Kawakami.